One of the things I think about when implementing a new habit is obviously you should be measuring. So if you are doing runs, walks, if you are reading books, make sure that you're measuring what you're actually achieving. Because again, when you look back at that over 3 months, you can sit there and say, wow, I had no idea I'd be able to do 4 books in 3 months. I had no idea I'd be able to actually achieve 100 kilometers on the road in 3 months, that I wouldn't have eaten takeaway meals in 3 months. So you want to be able to measure it so you can actually go back and actually look at the progress that you're making, which will give you that validation of the reward that you're seeing. Putting rewards in place for yourself. So if you hit these milestones which you've put in, what is the reward for that? Maybe it's dinner with the wife, boyfriend, or girlfriend. Once you hit 100 kilometers on the road, get yourself a pair of new shoes. We need to put those rewards in place because that is the satisfaction layer and guideline that will help you get there. Remove all of the friction. Like I said, having to get up and drive a long distance to go to a gym, to book a treadmill and get changed and get out and have a shower. You want to make it as easy as possible to do the work that you need to do. Myself personally, I don't have a gym membership. I literally have the weights and the resistance bands at my house. So from the cue to do the exercise to doing the exercise, it's 60 seconds. Now, I understand everybody may or may not be able to do that, but always find the way to remove that friction. It may be the fact that where you work might be a gym close by. So then do the gym in your lunch break instead of having to do it first thing in the morning or after work as well. Keep the habit tracker and record it visually. Think about things. Maybe you want to take progress pics. Maybe every time you achieve that goal, you're actually putting something away. It could be a monetary value, putting away some money so that once you hit those things, you can actually reward yourself with a holiday or some sort of gift or anything else like that. I think one of the things that does work for people, and it's good advice for me, and maybe it'll work for you, is to bring an accountability partner into the mix, because some people are more inclined to let themselves down than other people. So if your friend is waiting down there on the street corner to meet you for that morning walk or run, you're going to want to show up and you're going to want to be there. You're going to want to talk about the results that you have both had. You're going to talk about the reasons where little obstacles might have got in the way and how you overcame them. The accountability partner can be a really big help as well. So now that you've defined the habits that you want to break and the new habits that you want to implement, start to put those cues in place and actually start to reiterate the routine after the cue and put the reward mechanisms in there as well. One of the things in my household, young kids, they all love their chockies and their junk food. One of the most simple things we could do is actually just take that stuff out of the refrigerator in the cupboard. If it's not there, you can't have it. If you are doing things that you don't want to do, have that sticky note or the bit of paper on top of it, which actually reminds you, hey, you sure you want to do this, or don't do this? This is not part of your plan or your goal. Set reminders on your phone. Set reminders on your watch. Put the blockage of time in place in your calendar so that everything starts to come into a routine, because the plan without actions, without the discipline and the consistency, end up nowhere. I'm sure you are aware, either within yourself or other people around you, that these little bad habits, if you look back at someone who has done that over 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, the significance of that downward trend and that impact will catch up. And it's particularly prevalent when you talk to older people, because they always go back, I was doing this for 30 years. That's why I'm dealing with this problem now. Look at a longer term horizon. And I know that this is always harder for younger people, but instead of looking at next week, next month, next year, start thinking 10 years. Start thinking 20 years. That time is going to come. Those days will come. And whatever you're doing now, that trajectory will be a compounding interest of your behavior and actions over time. Same as the other way. The trajectory of downward impact and implication will happen over a long period of time. So start looking at longer time horizons and doing the small thing consistently day in, day out for that progression. One of the things that I used, and there's a lot of this stuff out there, but it's actually called the routine journal. Now, this thing is just a daily worksheet, which has on there, my goals, today, what am I grateful for? What's the positive affirmation today? In terms of self-development, what am I going to do? Am I going to read? Am I going to podcast? Am I going to journal, meditate, create something? It's got some breathing work in there. It's got a top 5 to-do list, appointments that must be done, meals and water, positive habits, exercise, and very simple for you to complete something like this. And then at the end, the bottom section, it has the night review. So you're actually starting a day with the right routine and you're ending the day with a review of that routine. So in this example here with this book, which I use, write down something great that happened today. How could I have made today better? What's the wake up time tomorrow? What's tomorrow's breakfast? And what is the number one goal I need to complete? And I found that super, super useful as a way of kind of keeping myself on track. And then eventually maybe you don't need something like this, but if you are at a stuck point of like, what is the, tips, tools, and techniques, this is one of those that I can highly recommend.